Retention, 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 retention. If you say that 5 times in the mirror, I think Matt Painter comes out and scares you or something like that because Purdue's retention is something that is a talking point amongst college basketball people. Obviously, with Purdue, in most circles, I haven't talked to a lot of people who don't have Purdue as a consensus #1 team next year, and a lot of that has to do with what they are getting back. And this is, I saw John Rothstein tweet the other day said that Purdue will return 86% of its scoring from last season's team that won 24 games and reached the Sweet 16. The Boilers will return three starters: TKR, Trey Kaufman-Renn, Fletcher Lawyer, Braden Smith, who started in the 2024 national title game versus UConn. The power of retention. The retention word is really, really something in today's day and age, especially in NIL. It's hard to retain players. And for a team that in Purdue, which I will give them credit, like a lot of the narrative was about this team not spending money and not having NIL, and for them to be able to use the money that they have to spend on the players and retain guys that they have. Also, just Matt Painter himself deserves a lot of credit for establishing a team with success and culture that, these guys could have probably got more money elsewhere. Maybe, who knows? But they're in a good situation. Guys like TKR knows he can play his game and be who he is at Purdue. Fletcher Lawyer knows what he can do, plays his role, does what he does at Purdue, and then Braden Smith is Braden Smith. So, uh, I guess I'll start with this, Dion. What do you think about Purdue's retention, and what do you think about this? I guess this stat from John Rossi and that Purdue will return 86% of its scoring from last year's team.
I mean, obviously Purdue's retention is impressive. No one wants to take away from the fact that they're bringing back two All-Americans and my dog Fletch. You know what I mean? That's a great trio. The stat doesn't hit the same when they actively went into the portal or recruiting wherever, trying to replace everybody else's minutes besides those three. They admitted what was wrong with the team, went out there and fixed it. And I think the focus should be more on the fact that they spent on Oscar Clough, Myers coming in. Like they went out and they got a lot of talented guys to offset those three. And in my opinion, that's what's most impressive about what this Purdue team's going to do in comparison to just the retention. Like we've seen Purdue retain a bunch of people. Like these three came back last year too, and they finished what you six in the Big Ten. You said
Yeah, sixth in the Big Ten.
like. You know what I mean? Like the retention's sick. Oscar Clough is like way better. Like where else, respectfully, like where else was TKR, Braden, and Fletch gonna go? If Purdue's willing to match the money that like Kentucky would or get close, they were never gonna leave. And respectfully to them, I felt like Braden was an NBA guy at one point this year. It was clear towards the end he isn't at the moment. And he has a lot of growth to do on that front. So like the retention part's cool. Bringing in Clough to me is the bigger deal.
Right. It's more so the like obviously this tweet is just to speak on the retention, which like the retention is great, like you said, but there's so many factors to I think building a good team, and that's what makes Purdue so good this year. That's why they are the #1 team. They are retaining they're retaining people. Two, the people they're retaining are great players, right? They are retaining two All-Americans. That is a great pick and a guy who has won hundreds of games in a Purdue uniform and Fletcher Lawyer as well. That's great. But the story being the retention being the only thing, I think just overlooks the fact that this is the impressive part of this offseason was that Paint combine the retention with adding people, right? It's like you get the retention and then you get Daniel Jacobson back, which I guess that's not part of it, but him getting back healthy is a new addition. Oscar Clough is added, Oscar Myers added, they add Liam Murphy as well. They went out and they got guys to combine with the retention. It's not all just about retention. Retention is a small portion, I think, of what makes teams great because you can retain all you want. If they just did retention, then this team might be a 6 seed in the Big Ten again because that's what they were last year. Now, I'm not saying they would be that, but I'm saying it's the retention combined with other things that I think are going to make this Purdue team great and what makes Purdue the #1 team in the country. I guess I want to ask you what is more important here because obviously getting two All-Americans back is incredible in this day and age. You don't necessarily get that. But we just talked about how the new additions, the pieces are maybe even more important. So what do you think is more important in this case? 'Cause I have a hard time being like, something's more important than getting Braden Smith and TKR back.
Today's video is presented by Underdog Fantasy.
Well, what's going on with your hat?
Well, my hat's not supposed to be this way, is it?
I don't think so. No.
Just like people who watch these videos are not supposed to not sign up for Underdog Fantasy using promo code SLEEPERS. At the time of this recording, we have 49 people who have signed up as a first-time user with Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code SLEEPERS. 50 is a very, very important number. 50 is a number we would really like to get to. You, loyal listener, person watching this video right now, could be the person who gets us over the hump with number 50. And we have a great free pick that you get with this. Donovan Mitchell to score at least 1 point. How many points did Donovan Mitchell have in game two, Cart?
I believe he was too short of 50 with 48.
Yeah, he had 48 points, 50. Very key number for a lot of reasons. If Donovan Mitchell scores 1 point, you cash in your free pick, and you can get your deposit match bonus up to $1,000 with promo code SLEEPERS. Sign up, put the promo code in, SLEEPERS. Get that deposit match, get yourself free funds, use the free pick, cash that winner, and turn your hat the right way.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the new additions because, like, respectfully, since Braden Smith and TKR got to Purdue, they've played a lot of games. They've won a lot of games. They've had a lot of individual accolades. They've been phenomenal. They played a lot against a lot of guys that came, did exactly what they did, and then went to the league, and they're still here. So I think I think it's more so the other guys you're bringing in to offset them, right? Like I think the was clearly, I don't want to say it was flawed per se, because they had a phenomenal year, Sweet 16, right? Like you should be very happy with what they did coming off a national championship, but or national championship runner up at least. But they clearly had some issues and weren't where they wanted to be, and they admitted that. And I think that's the bigger deal is like they're not sitting here waiting on the leap from Jakari Harris. If it happens, that's great. But they have options now that they didn't have before. Daniel Jacobson leap isn't necessary for them. If it happens, that's great. But they don't need it because they have Clough. So I think it's more so the new additions that make them the number one team. Because if they just run it back, if they just do the retention thing and the 86% scoring, I'm not sure this is a top 10 team in the country.
Yeah, I think you have, like you said, the additions upon the retention are great, and it shows that Purdue's able to, spend money, and they're able to be big players in this. And I think also they're able to spend money while also combining with their culture, so that maybe they get guys at like a little bit of a discount, right? Because these guys could go and get like I know Braden Smith, someone would pay like 6 million for him. I feel like he's not getting that at Purdue. They don't have enough money to do that. Or they do, but they won't be able to get other people. I just think that these guys, one, know they're in a great situation. Two, they're compensated, fairly enough for what they get at Purdue, and they get to be in Purdue's system and that culture, and it makes them feel good. Last thing I'll say on this, and I went the whole video without saying this, so I'm gonna, I said a lot of positive things in this video. So Purdue fans, please I'm asking for a pat on the back. That's all I'm asking for. Give me a pat on my fat ass back. I think the funniest part of John Rothstein's tweet was that he was like, "Yeah, they returned three starters," and he could have just been like, "Yeah, they returned three starters. These guys have won that, and third, and that many games. We returned two All-Americans, TKR and Braden Smith." He said they returned those guys who started in the 2024 national title game versus UConn, a game in which they lost by 15 points. TKR played 15 minutes, had 4 points, two rebounds. Fletcher O'Leary played 30 minutes, had 0 points, one rebound, two rebounds, my apologies. Braden Smith had 12 and 8, not necessarily the best game, 4-12 from the field. Edie had 37 and 10. So, yes, those guys were there. Yes, they did start that, and let's go ahead and stop there. Could have worded it a little differently. That's all I'm saying.
Can I add a little bit to that too?
Please.
Since that game, some of the players they played against, Donovan Clingan, NBA player, Stephon Castle, NBA Rookie of the Year, Tristan Newton, also in the NBA. Like they went against a lot of guys that beat them and left. So the retention's great. It's great. But why are we retaining them? Like, why are we retaining them? Like, I love Braden Smith as much as any Purdue, maybe not as much as any Purdue fan, as much as any non-Purdue fan, right? And I think Purdue fans would agree with this statement. If Braden had his way, he'd also be doing what Stephon Castle is doing. And I think that's part of it that has to be considered. Is Purdue is a phenomenal culture. Once you're in it, you don't want to leave. But what you would leave for is the NBA. And these guys just didn't have that opportunity, unfortunately. And that's why they're back. Hopefully they do get it one day. But that national title game they're the only three players back besides Caravan, and respectfully to Caravan, there's a reason he's back too.
Also respect CJ Cox started 14 games, I think, this year. He can't get it. He can't be a part of the tweet. That's insane. Respect my guy. Look, the retention is good, like I said. I think I might be done seeing the word retention though. I think it's getting overused a little bit because they retain good players because you know what sucks when you retain bad players. All right, let's make that very known. But they did not do that. Shout out to the number one team in the country, Purdue. A lot of pressure on their shoulders this season. We'll see how they react.